Have you ever caught yourself in the middle of an ordinary moment, waiting for the coffee to brew, sitting in traffic, or lying awake at 2 a.m., and felt this quiet, insistent tug? Like part of you is already somewhere else, not physically packing a bag, but mentally checking out. The life you're living suddenly feels like it's happening to someone else, and there's this other version of existence calling from just out of reach. That's the psychology of wanting to escape your own life. And if that description lands even a little, you're not alone. Most of us have stood in that exact spot. The real question isn't whether you felt it. It's what that feeling is actually trying to tell you. Picture your mind as an old house you've lived in for years. You know every creak in the floorboards, every crack in the ceiling, the kitchen where you make the same meals, the couch where you scroll through other people's highlight reels, the bedroom where your thoughts circle like restless animals at night. It's comfortable enough, predictable. But lately the rooms feel smaller, the air heavier, and deep down, a part of you just wants to walk out the front door and never look back. This urge isn't dramatic or rare. It's your brain waving a flag. Not because your life is falling apart, but because something in it has quietly stopped fitting. At first, it masquerades as simple boredom or stress. You tell yourself you just need a break, a vacation, a new series, a weekend away. But the pull runs deeper than rest. It's the sense that you want an entirely different script. You catch yourself fantasizing about quitting the job, disappearing to another city, or waking up as someone whose days feel electric instead of gray. In those moments, the fantasy brings instant relief. Shoulders drop, breathing eases. Then the daydream dissolves, and you're still standing in the same house, facing the same walls. Why does it hit with such force? Your brain evolved for a world of immediate threats and tangible rewards, hunting, gathering, small tribes. It wasn't designed for endless spreadsheets, algorithm-fed content, or the slow accumulation of responsibilities that never quite resolve. When daily reality turns into a repeating loop of shoulds with too few genuine wants, the mind rebels. It craves novelty, autonomy, meaning. Escape becomes the fastest route it knows. The escape fantasies themselves aren't the problem. They're carrying a message. The real issue isn't that you want out. It's that certain parts of your current life have been quietly starving you. Core human needs sit at the center: autonomy, competence, real connection. When work removes any sense of real choice, when your efforts rarely produce visible growth, when relationships feel more like shared logistics than genuine intimacy, the system starts sending distress signals. Not always loud panic, but a persistent low-grade ache that makes ordinary days feel like they're happening behind thick glass. You've run the inner dialogue before. This can't be all there is. Everyone else seems to have figured it out. If I could just hit reset, everything would finally feel right. That voice isn't weakness. It's precise data. Your psyche flagging the exact gaps. Maybe you're successful on paper. Solid job, stable relationships, roof overhead. Yet at the end of most days, you feel strangely absent from your own story. Like you're performing the role of yourself rather than actually living it. That's the disconnection speaking. Psychologists frame this as a growing mismatch between the life trajectory you absorbed from childhood, media, and culture, and the reality you're actually walking. We internalize powerful stories about what a good life should look like. When day-to-day experience falls short, not through obvious failure but through subtle flatness, the mind generates escape as emotional compensation. It's hedonic adaptation running at full speed. You adjust quickly to improvements. The new salary feels ordinary after a few months. The relationship settles into comfortable routine. Your brain, wired for fresh stimulation, begins hunting elsewhere for the next hit. Social media, gaming, fiction, substances, elaborate future planning. Any doorway that promises a different emotional state. These escapes deliver relief. You lose yourself in a series for hours and the weight lifts. You scroll, and for a moment your problems shrink. But when the screen goes dark or the chapter ends, the house feels even tighter than before. Short-term relief trades away long-term connection. Wanting to escape your life isn't proof you're ungrateful or defective. It's evidence your system is intelligent enough to notice when it's undernourished. A plant doesn't stretch toward light because it's dramatic. It does so because that's where the resources are. There's real grief underneath the urge, the grief for paths not taken, potential left unexplored, versions of you that never got room to breathe. You might feel anger at the systems or choices that delivered you here, or a quiet shame that you should be more content with what you have. Those feelings aren't signs of fragility. They're human. Ignoring them doesn't dissolve them. It only lets them steer from the back seat. Biologically, sustained low-level dissatisfaction keeps cortisol elevated. Your body registers the mismatch as an unresolved threat. Cognitively, you slip into counterfactual loops. If only I'd chosen differently, which leaves you mentally half-present. Emotionally, it's restlessness mixed with quiet despair. The escape urge hardens into a familiar loop. Feel the discomfort, distract, repeat. The fantasy life you're drifting into isn't random. It contains sharp clues. The beach house dream might signal a buried need for spaciousness and autonomy. The creative career vision might reveal a hunger for self-expression that's been sidelined for years. The desire to simply disappear often points to relationships or environments that drain more than they refill. Your mind isn't being lazy or dramatic. It's being accurate. It's highlighting exactly where the soil has gone poor. If escape is the symptom, addressing the root looks different from grand overhauls. It starts with quiet, testable experiments. Begin with a precise audit. For one full week, notice your primary escapes without judgment. When the urge arrives, what do you reach for? Doom scrolling, binge watching, alcohol, overwork, endless planning? Then note how you feel 30 minutes later. This isn't self-criticism, it's gathering clean data. Next, isolate the exact need the escape is attempting to satisfy. When the pull strikes hardest at work, is it boredom, lack of challenge, or feeling invisible? When it hits in the evenings, is it loneliness or mental exhaustion? In the quiet of that moment, ask directly, what am I actually avoiding right now by checking out? The honest answer becomes your starting line. Then run small experiments. Don't quit the job tomorrow. Instead, import tiny fragments of the life you crave into the one you already have. If travel fantasies dominate, schedule one intentional local exploration each month. No phone, full presence. If creativity calls, protect 15 undistracted minutes daily to make something, anything. No perfection required, just motion. Your current life isn't a cage that must be burned down. It's raw material waiting for rearrangement. Like a half-written book whose early chapters feel slow, you still hold the pen for everything that comes next. Many people carry this urge for decades. They normalize the low hum of dissatisfaction and call it adulthood. They outsource their aliveness to weekends, substances, or distant futures. The cost compounds quietly. Shallower relationships, atrophied skills, fading self-trust. One day keeps sliding further away. Others treat the discomfort as precise information. They don't kill the urge to escape. They reshape their actual days until escape becomes optional instead of essential. Small, consistent shifts create compound returns in daily experience. Every time you choose engagement over escape, you send yourself a clear signal. You are still capable of shaping this. That signal builds real momentum. Run a simple energy audit for 2 weeks. Rate key activities on how drained or energized you feel afterward. Then deliberately protect time for the energizing ones and adjust or minimize the draining ones. Not by magical thinking, but by changing your approach. A draining meeting might shift if you enter it with one clear contribution or learning goal. Create presence anchors, deliberate moments where you stay inside your actual life instead of fleeing it. A 10-minute walk without headphones. A conversation that goes beyond small talk. One avoided task met with full attention. These aren't about forcing happiness. They're about rebuilding the muscle of simply being here. When the tug returns and the screen starts calling, pause for one breath and ask, if I didn't escape right now, what single small move could take me even 1 inch toward the version of life that feels alive? Then, take that inch. The psychology of escape reveals your values in negative space. The things you fantasize about are exactly what your current setup is missing. Use that as a compass rather than a complaint. Often the urge masks a deeper identity question. Who are you when you're not performing the usual roles? Employee, partner, parent, provider? If your sense of self rests mostly on external validation and routine, the inner world starts feeling hollow. True escape isn't running away. It's expanding who you allow yourself to become inside the life you already occupy. Left unaddressed, the desire can harden into resignation or sudden, destructive breaks, burnout, affairs, drastic moves that solve nothing because the old patterns simply travel along. Addressed with honesty, it becomes the catalyst for a life that finally fits. You don't have to love every corner of your current reality. You do need to stop abandoning yourself inside it. The psychology of wanting to escape your own life isn't a flaw in your wiring. It's a sophisticated internal navigation system. It shows you precisely where the gaps sit and where the potential waits. The version of life worth staying in isn't hiding in another country, another title, or another identity. It's built through the choices you make starting today. Small, sometimes uncomfortable choices that slowly turn "this is fine" into "this is mine." You don't need to escape your life. You need to begin inhabiting it more fully. The pull you feel isn't an exit sign, it's an invitation. The life you're living right now, the one with the same coffee, the same commute, the same quiet doubts, is the only one with the power to change. And the only one that can actually become the one you've been dreaming about. Start where you are. Stay honest. Keep moving. Because that house can become a home again. Not by leaving, but by finally deciding to live in it on your own terms.